What's going on, everybody? It's your boy introducing you to a new show on this channel. It's called Random Reads, and it's exactly that. A bunch of stuff that I'm reading right now, what I'm enjoying, what I've read in the past, different stuff like that. Let's kick it off with the first review. So for today, we're going to start off with Quarantine Reads, Part 1. Now for me, the quarantine, I'm going to say, started in March of last year, 2020. That was when my work let me know that we were shut down and that we were to shelter in place, like we did in all of California. Coincidentally, I found out the news that work was shut down and we were going to stay home on the anniversary of, the 30th anniversary of when my father died. I was actually headed to the cemetery when I got a text from work saying, don't come in no more. And yeah, so on that fun note, let's start with the book I was reading at the time. This is The Goldfinch by Donna Tarrtt, or Tarrtt? Yeah, Tarrtt. This was the book I was actually reading in March of 2020 when the world shut down, basically. It is a not fun, it's actually very serious. It is actually a really good read. It took me about 100 pages to get into it. I actually came across this when I saw the trailer for the movie, but didn't want, and it looked interesting. It's about a guy who, a tragedy happened when he was young. There was an explosion at a museum he was at, which killed his mom. That's not spoilers. And what happens in his life subsequently and his dealings with this painting that was in the museum called The Goldfinch. I believe it says it's a winner of a Pulitzer Prize, although that doesn't really factor into how much I enjoy the books. The book was a great read. Like I said, it took me about 100 pages or so to get kind of into it. But once it got going, I could not put it down. Fantastic read. Like I said, enjoyed every page after it started getting going. Once I really started reading it more and more, before I was reading it in starts and stops. But once I had more time on my hands, I was able to knock out all the book. Highly recommended. Go check it out. You'll enjoy the story. It was very well written and very well read. Don't go see the movie because it was trash. At the same time of reading The Goldfinch, I was reading this, The Man Without Talent, by Yoshiharu Tsuge, or Tsuge? I don't know, I'm not very good with names. But this was a manga, and I don't read mangas too much. Manga, I don't know, I don't even know how to pronounce it. But this was about this guy's life growing up and how he wanted to be an artist, and everyone kind of told him you can't be. And I can relate to that. But it was just okay. Like I said, I don't really read too many mangas. The format didn't really bother me anything. The story was just all right. I had to show you a little screen capture of it because I sold the book on eBay because I didn't enjoy it that much, which is very rare for me. But yeah, that one was just all right. One thing I forgot to mention is it's not unusual for me to read 2 or 3 books at a time. You know, sometimes you like tacos, sometimes you like potato chips, you know, sometimes you want a whole meal, sometimes you want just a snack. Usually in between the 2 books, I usually have a graphic novel or 2 going at the same time, so that's why there's going to be a lot of books on this list. I'm a very slow reader, to be honest with you. I like to absorb everything, which is just code for I'm a slow reader. But as we got into the pandemic, I wanted to read more like comfort food kind of reading, books I've already read, and you know, just books I enjoy, and it was real fun to reread them, which is why I went next with High Fidelity by Nick Hornby. I lost my copy, or somewhere buried in the catacombs of my garage, so I had to pick this one up off of eBay, but thankfully books are really cheap there, because I guess nobody's reading. But High Fidelity, Nick Hornby, the one thing I got out of it different is every time I read it, I feel different about the characters. Now, when I first read it, in 2001, right after the John Cusack movie came out, I was like, oh man, this guy's awesome. It's all about the music, hanging out with your friends and stuff. And now reading it at 39 at the time, I was like, man, Rob Gordon is kind of a jerk. I don't know. It was just, I get something different out of it each time I read it at different times in my life for where I'm at. And I guess that's a sign of a great book. It's still rereadable. Still love the music references. I still love music. But yeah, great read. Highly, highly recommend it. I've seen maybe 4 episodes in the TV show that was on Hulu last year with Zoe Kravitz, and it was all right. But yeah, book, movie, soundtrack. It's a rare trifecta of 3 good things. Go check them all out. Keeping up with the comfort food readings, we have Have a Nice Day by Mick Foley, aka Mankind. This is a professional wrestler's biography, and it is incredible. I read this when it first came out on hardback in 1999, I think it was. And I've read it about 3 or 4 times since then. It is a thick book, but it is incredibly engaging. Mick writes great stories. His time on the road. You know, I've been a wrestling fan since I was about 7 years old, and maybe 6, 7. And yeah, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love. He was always one of my favorites. He was a tough dude. You could know, he was going to take a beating, and didn't always get the W, but he always had great matches. Mick, you my boy. Anyway, go out and pick this up if you like a story about someone who's been told they can't do a thing and it's their dream and they accomplish their dream. He goes from, sleeping in his car and making $25 a hot dog and a handshake to WWF champion. It was WWF back then, not WWE. Great story. And once I finished this, I knew I had to read the follow-up. So that led us to Foley is Good. And The Real World is Faker Than Wrestling. This is Mick Foley's 2000 follow-up to Have a Nice Day. I gotta say, it didn't hold up as well as Have a Nice Day. That one was like a timeless classic to me. Like, I put that maybe in my top 20 books. Definitely top 50, top 25. Let's go there and be safe. But this one, it seemed kind of rushed, man. Like, some of the stories were similar to the stories, if not verbatim, the same story as the first book. I remember buying this when it came out on hardback too. Yeah, if you haven't figured it out by now, I call hardcover books hardbacks. Let's just go with it, right? And I've read this not as much as the other one, but definitely a few times over the years. Mick Foley is a great writer. I enjoy his work. I appreciate that he writes it first out on paper before he types it up. That was something I used to do when I was writing stories. And yeah, this is a good read, not as great, and as Have a Nice Day, I would definitely recommend that one. But if you enjoyed that one, pick this up as a good companion. I've read his other, I didn't read this time, but before in the past, I've read his other books, the Hardcore Diaries and Countdown to Lockdown, and they were just okay. I think I ended up selling those eventually when I moved. All right, on to the next one. The comfort reads continue as we go to Love is a Mixtape by Rob Sheffield. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's nonfiction. It's a story about a guy who at the time was a Rolling Stone writer. And it's told the story of kind of him growing up, but mostly about him and his first wife, who unfortunately passed away at a very young age. And their relationship is told through the music that brings them together. Now, flipping through here, each chapter starts with a mixtape. And if you're too young to remember what those are little things on cassettes that you would express your feelings to people, or the mood, or the vibe, or the wave, or whatever you kids call it, that you're on. And I love mixtapes. I want to say I was a mixtape king. I used to make them all the time just for myself, for my Walkman. Look up what Walkman is, kids. I even have a mixtape tattooed on me. Taped on me. What's wrong with me? I have a mixtape tattooed on me. Even when I was burning CDs, I still called them mixtapes. Love is a Mixtape is a short book, but it's an incredibly great read. I read, I believe, one of his follow-ups after that, which is, I think it was called Talking to Girls About Duran Duran or something like that. It was all right, but this book is a classic to me. You know, I can reread it anytime. I love it. This was the first time I actually read it as a husband. I got married a couple years ago, and, I read it as a fiance. I read it as her boyfriend, but this was the first time reading as a husband, and I could not fathom losing my wife the way he did. You know, my heart goes out to Rob Sheffield. But yeah, great read, sad book, but great. Definitely, if you're watching this, go check it out right now. Now, I know you think we forgot about comics, but we did not. And after reading such an emotional book like Love is Mixtape, I wanted something fun, something quick, so I went with Will You Still Love Me If I Wet the Bed by Liz Prince. This is an autobiographical comic, I guess. It's very easy to read, very simplistic form, but incredibly funny, detailed, and fun stories. I love autobiographical comics. I actually make autobiographical comics. If you look on my Instagram, Tommy Loves Stuff, and check it out, you can see in the early days that was primarily a comic-based Instagram account until I started doing this YouTube thing. And I may still draw them to begin to keep going. I cannot draw at all. I can only draw me, which is why I chose autobiographical comics. Also, I feel like I have a weird life, so sometimes stories need to be told. Anyway, this was fun. This is about her relationship with her boyfriend. And great stories, funny. You can relate to the little quirky things that make a relationship interesting. And yeah. Definitely a fun read. Go check it out. She has a bunch of other books. I have Tomboy. That was a really good read. If you're a young reader, you know, I definitely recommend that too. So go check that out. Yeah, Liz Prince makes dope comics. Jeffrey Brown, Julia Wirtz, other people like that make autobiographical comics. Incredible. Go look. Next, we have Box Office Poison by Alex Robinson. This is a big, heavy book. I used to have it on soft cover, but it's kind of getting destroyed. I read it a number of years ago, and again, you get different things out of it. It's a sign of a good story, man. You get different things out of it. Different times you read it in your life. You know, I remember reading Catcher in the Rye back in the day for high school, for elementary school, and thinking it was not great. And then I read it as an adult, and I got different stuff out of it, and you know, stuff like that. I got that with Box Office Poison as well. It's the story, very 90s, great artwork. Very 90s about 6 people. It's not like Friends, but I don't know. I never watched Friends. I watched Martin on the 90s. Martin, Living Single, New York Undercover. Those were my jams, not Friends. Anyway, that's aside. But yeah, so it's a story about a bunch of people who are in, I believe, New York, and their lives and stuff. My favorite character was Ed, the Latino comic book geek who wanted to be in the comic book industry. Who couldn't relate to that? I know your boy could. But yeah, there was different characters I liked, some I didn't. They talked about CDs and working in bookstores, all stuff which you probably have to look up today, kids. But yeah, Box Office Poison was a great read. I know it was individual issues, but I always had the collected version. The first one I got, like I said, I had in soft cover, and that got pretty banged up. I remember buying that at a WonderCon back when they were in San Francisco, Moscone Center, back in the day. And this one I got off Amazon, I think. And yeah, great read. They're all been fun reads, but this was really fun too. Next we have Stumptown. Stumptown by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka is an incredible writer, and I think this is around the time I had this for a long time. I actually bought it at Powell's Books when I was in Portland visiting some family. Shout out Powell's Book. Anyway, got this a while ago and then put it on the shelf, and then I believe my mom started watching the TV show that was on with what's her name from How I Met Your Mother, and yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, I have a story like that. And I have a couple of them, but this one was Volume 4, The Case of the Cup of Joe. It was about, in small part, a barista mafia that's running things. Crazy if that was a real thing. If you know, you know. Anyway, this was a really good story. Deck's a real cool character. I love a good detective story. And yeah, this got the ball rolling on some other reads about detective stories that we'll hit in a little bit. But yeah, Stumptown, any of the volumes are good. I like this one a lot. We'd been in the quarantine a while, and actually, my wife got me this as a gift for our anniversary in May. Saga. It is a saga, baby. This is the compendium by Brian K. Vaughn, art by Fiona Staples. This, I don't know how much of this I can show you because this is not for children. There is swearing a lot. There is nudity a lot. There is violence a hell of a lot. But Saga, this is close to 1,400 pages. This weighs almost 8 pounds. Let's say 5 pounds. I don't know. I ain't going to weigh it. But, you know, this is pretty darn heavy. Listen to it fall. Why did I drop the book like that? You see what it did to the camera? Anyway, like I said, I don't know how much I can show of it, but it is an incredible story about 2 people from different warring factions, and they fall in love, they have a baby. Everyone thinks the baby's a mistake. They're trying to get a hold of it for their own good. And it takes you on a journey, man. Like, I know the story isn't finished. They're on break right now. Hopefully they'll come back by the time you see this recording and you're reading new ones. I can't wait for them to ever come back because, man, the story just is in 3 days. And yeah, I just carried this heavy book with me wherever I went. And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Saga, go pick it up if you are older. If you're younger, you know, you can read it when you're older. Yeah, definitely go read it though. If you my age or, you know, younger, you know, because I'm old, go read it. Go read it now. Go order it. Go to your local comic book shop if that's even open. And yeah, go check it out. Saga is incredible. Got 2 more to go for you. Wanted to read a little something lighter. So, I mean, I'm counting books here and graphic novels. I'm not really counting stuff I read digitally. I have the Marvel Unlimited app. And, you know, I read a number of great series there that I might tackle in a different quarantine reads. But for now, we're just sticking to the physical stuff. Also, I have Hoopla, which is an incredible app. You can get a library card and check out stuff for free. It almost feels like you're stealing. You're getting so many good reads. Saving that money, you know what I'm saying? But keep it going with the physical. This, I'm counting, even though it's a single issue, it is a 100-page spectacular. It is the Joker 80th Anniversary Special. And this was a fun read, written by a whole mess of different people. It has funny Joker stories. It has creepy Joker stories. If you're a fan of the Joker like I am, you know, I love the Joker. He's I guess he's a multifaceted character, but yeah, he's just incredible. He's Batman's best villain. There's other ones I love too, but the Joker's the one that comes to mind when I think of great villains. You know, he ain't an anti-hero or nothing like that. He's just evil. And Joker, 80-page spectacular. Go find it at your comic book shops. It is if they still have it. This came out a while ago. I'm sure you can find it on eBay or something like that. This is a fun read that, like, after every story, I was telling my wife, guess what I just read? And then I tell her the story. So she didn't really need to read it herself because I explained the whole thing to her. But yeah, I definitely dug it. Loved the hell out of it. It could have been 800 pages and I would have enjoyed it just as much. All right, Joker. Go read some Joker stories later. All right, we've read a ton of good stuff. This is the last one for this video. There's going to be a Quarantine Reads Part 2, maybe even a Part 3. I don't know how long we in this thing, but like I said, Stumptown got me got me in the mood for detective stories. So I went on eBay and picked up something I've been wanting to read for a long time. This is Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. And I went into it knowing who Hannibal Lecter was. I think I saw The Silence of the Lambs when I was a little kid, but I haven't seen it in a number of years. And I never saw the movie Red Dragon, but I wanted to start off with this. Also, in Have a Nice Day, Mick Foley mentions that he read it on a trip to Japan before he was going to wrestle out there. And I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the plunge and read this, and hopefully it's good. And it was fantastic. My gosh, I could not put this book down. Some parts were creepy. I'm not squeamish. Some parts were creepy and some parts were gory, but this detective story and, you know, finding the killer, in this one he was called the Tooth Fairy, although Hannibal Lecter is in it. And the cat and mouse game he plays with the main character, Will, it was incredible. Like, I went and I bought Silence of the Lambs as well. I haven't got a chance to read it yet because I got busy with other reads, as you'll see in these videos. But yeah, definitely if you haven't read this, and you like a good suspense story, good detective story, go out and pick this up, man. I could not put it down. Yeah, I didn't read it too much at night for the gory parts because I'm chicken like that. I don't want the nightmares. But definitely go read this. Incredible read. It's not that long. And yeah, Red Dragon was dope. All right, y'all. That was the first video of Quarantine Reads. Read a bunch of great stuff. Hopefully you got some quick recommendations. Take a drink every time I said definitely read this. You're going to have fun by the time you watch this part of the video, am I right? Anyway, so go check it out. Hopefully some of these books inspired you to pick up something to read. Reading, besides being my wife's husband, is my absolute favorite thing in the universe. It's just incredible. I've been, you know, hooked on books since I was 4 years old. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to do more of these random read videos. Hopefully you like this one. And if you like what you saw, please take the time to like and subscribe down here. Leave a comment if you've read any of these books, if you're planning to read any of these books. Anything you could do to get noise out about the channel will greatly benefit, help with that algorithm, help get more people watching what I'm doing. And I appreciate it. Hit that bell notification that's in the corners right here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. But yeah, stick with us again. We're going to come back with part 2 of Quarantine Reads. Keep these random reads going. I'll let you know periodically what I'm reading, what I have read, or what I plan to read. And stick with us. If you like comic book reviews, Tommy Reads X-Men, check that out. If you like food reviews, look at our ChubCon reviews. Got a lot of great stuff going on the channel. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate the support you're going to give. Later, y'all.